Hello everyone. In today's video, we'll be learning how to unpivot data in Power Query Editor. So my Excel is open and I have data set for drug score in the US. So this data set contains or shows how hard drugs are consumed in the US. So let's see how we can clean this data using the unpivot feature. So the first thing I want to do is to create an even space among my data. So I highlight all my data sets, then double click on the middle of a particular column. So the next thing I want to do is to take my data to the Power Query Editor. So how do I do that? I go to the data tab. From the data tab, my data is in a table or a range. So I'm going to select from table or range. Then from there, Excel automatically highlights the whole of my worksheet, which I do not want because the data is going to assume that I'm selecting data from the whole of my worksheet. So I just need to select the range where my data is, so which I'm doing now. So I've selected the range of my data. Perfect. Then my table has headers, yes, so I'm going to hit OK. So now my data is in the Power Query Editor. Now I can perform whatever transformation or cleaning I want to do in my data. For today's video, like I mentioned, I'll be using the unpivot feature to make our data cleaner. So what does unpivot do? Unpivot means that you want to change the structure of your data in a particular way. So what do I want to do in this sense? What I want to do is I have the drugs spread across columns. So we have alcohol, the score on one column, heroin, the score on another column, crack, the score on another column, and a lot of them like that. So what I want to achieve is that I want all the drugs. So let's say alcohol, heroin on one column, then I want the crack on, I want heroin, cracks, then the score on a separate column. So what I want, the next thing I'm going to do is to select the attribute column. So I'm going to select the group, hold down my shift key and select criteria. So I highlight these three columns at once. So the next thing I'm going to do is to go to the transform tab, then click on, we have unpivot column. So we have two options. We have unpivot column, unpivot other column, or unpivot selected column. So I have the option to unpivot column or unpivot other column. So in this case, I'll be using the unpivot other columns because it's the other columns I want to unpivot. I actually want to unpivot the other columns. So I'm going to select this, and automatically our data set has been unpivoted and we have something close to a clean data set here. So here we have attributes, which are the attributes of all the drugs, and we have a separate column for values. So those are the values of the rate at which people consume drugs in the US. So let me just rename this to drug arm score. I'll rename this to drug arm score. Then for the attributes, I could just call them the drugs or hard drugs, as the case may be. Then I think the next thing I want to do is to make the other columns in proper case. So for group, I'll just change the G to a capital G, and also for the category, I'll do the same. And for the criteria, the same. So here, I've been able to make sense of my data and make it clean to an extent. I've been able to make sense of my data and make it clean to an extent. I can decide to move further by grouping my data based on the drugs. I can go a step further by grouping my data based on drugs. So I'm going to be using the group by function for that, but that is not the topic for today's class. I'm going to make another video to show how we can use group by in Power Query. I hope you find this video useful. See you in the next one. So if you feel your data is clean enough, you can as well try to load your data to Excel. So you can just go back to file, then use close and load, or close and load to, as the case may be. So see you in the next one. Bye.